and babe lovers. So today's topic is non-binary, and as a member of the LGBT community, this comes up in conversations an awful lot, and I have never fully expressed what I think of non-binary, if it's even a thing, if it isn't a thing. First of all, I don't think that anyone in the non-binary community even can fully explain what non-binary is. It seems like it's this made-up term that anybody can use for whatever reason they want.
I'm not male, I'm not female, I'm somewhere floating around in there.
Wait, so you're a girl? You're a trans woman, but you're also non-binary? How is that possible?
I don't get it.
I think that non-binary is actually a new woke way of saying androgynous, just like wielding a sword of wokeness over the new term. For validation purposes, for pronouns, for control.
Don't identify with having a gender because I found it really restrictive.
It gives me the freedom to express myself. If I wake up one day and I want to spike my hair and do punk rock makeup, I can do it.
So clothes, makeup, the way they speak, the way they act, whatever. And that's one of the reasons I haven't made a video on this topic. No one has really been able to come up with a concise definition for the term non-binary.
You define the labels don't define you. So you can bring your own definition to whatever label.
On my forehead or something.
Yeah.
And secondly, most of the people I know or that I have seen that identify as non-binary are A, very, very young, and B, tend to seem like they are doing it for a very, very political reason, almost like a fuck you to the patriarchy or fuck you for telling me how I should think and act.
Non-binary people don't owe you shit. They can use whatever pronouns they see fit. If they dress femme or mask, don't worry about it, cause it's not your fucking bitch.
Which is funny because you're actually telling people and telling the world that you are taking yourself out of a box by putting yourself in another box. One of the questions I have for the non-binary community is there a difference between somebody that is actually non-binary and transsexual people? So transsexual meaning people that are born one sex and transitioning, even though you can't technically transition to another sex, but visually secondary sex characteristics trying to appear as the sex they feel more comfortable as. If non-binary simply means just the way that somebody feels or acts, isn't everybody inherently non-binary? You know, like everybody has more masculine and feminine traits somewhere in their head or their body or whatever. Even if it's not all the time, even if it's just sometimes. It's not normal to be perfectly binary, right? Everybody is kind of on the spectrum. If we're talking about feeling, thinking, and presenting. Because obviously we already know that sex is binary, sex meaning gametes, male, female, sperm, egg, simple, basic stuff. No, intersex is not a third sex. And we know that gender dysphoria is also a real thing. It has been scientifically credited, right? So what does non-binary mean if it is a physical thing to some of these people? Like, does that mean having partial gender dysphoria? Like only having dysphoria on part of your body? And if that was the case, I could get behind that because it is scientifically backed and it would make sense to me that if somebody came to me and told me, listen, I'm non-binary, I feel if I was fully male, meaning like flat chest, testosterone driven body, producing sperm, having a penis, I wouldn't feel comfortable, and I don't feel comfortable fully as a female either. As far as the law goes, I think that would be very tricky. I think it's becoming increasingly difficult to figure out how to treat non-binary people in the world because a lot of things are sex segregated or gender segregated or socially sex segregated. As I just said, I think if it is physically and biologically and gender dysphoria based, I can get behind the idea of non-binary, but if it is just something as simple as not fitting gender stereotypes, I actually think that is an incredibly sexist idea. What do you guys think though? Do you think non-binary is a real thing? Why or why not? If it is a real thing or if it is something that you know could be a real thing, what do you think the definition of it should be? Yes, I am filming this on a different day because apparently I had a lot more to say than originally anticipated. One of the most important questions I have currently regarding non-binary is, why does being non-binary mean the erasure of female characteristics? Let me explain. Why is it that almost every single female-born person that calls themselves non-binary either goes on HRT, testosterone, or at least gets a double mastectomy, top surgery? When people who are born male identify as non-binary, usually only just change their gender expression, meaning they wear different clothes, they change their hair, they wear makeup. How often do you see someone that's male that identifies as non-binary getting boobs, getting a boob job, or going on HRT. Why does one sex feel like they have to make physical changes but the other doesn't? My friend Chad said this really well, I think. Men are taught to decorate their bodies if they wish to express themselves outside of gender norms. Women must bind, hide, disguise, or physically remove their femaleness in order to accomplish the same. I think this really all comes down to, how does one express being neither gender or neither sex? Is the presence of breasts much more obvious as a gender marker than the absence of them? Why are males that identify as non-binary only adding to themselves while females are removing parts of themselves? To me, that suggests that the male body type is the default gender. Why is one sex more focused on gender expression, clothes, hair, makeup, while the other is more focused on physical changes, like I said before? Testosterone, HRT, top surgery, basically not being perceived as female at all. I'm gonna end the video on a very controversial note because I think my friend Chad, who identifies as non-binary by the way, makes a really good point. He said, in older generations, trans men adopted a variety of masculine looks that fit their personality and often worked to reach an ideal masculine physique, which I agree, look at people like Buck Angel. But the current generation isn't doing that. Is anti-female now equal to teenage boy? He asked, why? I think he makes a really good point and it's definitely up for a debate, and it's definitely a good point to end the video on. Other than that, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do it now. And make sure you go and follow me on my locals page, arielle.locals.com, where we talk much more in depth about these topics. Other than that, I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you. Love yourselves. Bye.